Now I'll take you to Nepal. So students' unrest spilled over to the streets, mostly get violent. But if you look at the last 1 year or so, the pattern is now become different because of
There's some hidden power.
hidden power is controlling from behind, but they are using the youth to do all this kind of unrest.
So हमारे इस सेगमेंट में हम बात करने वाले हैं जेंजीज के बारे में. सो देयर इज सम मूवमेंट्स गोइंग ऑन थ्रू आउट द वर्ल्ड कनेक्टेड विद द जेंजीज. सो कर्नल अशोकन हमें बताएंगे ये क्या मूवमेंट है, कहाँ से स्टार्ट हुआ और एक्चुअली माइंडसेट क्या है लोगों का इसके पीछे. सो सर हम इस टॉपिक पे थोड़ा डिटेल में समझना चाहेंगे कि ये जेंजीज मूवमेंट है वो एक्चुअली जिस पे हर कोई बात कर रहा है वो ये मूवमेंट है क्या चीज़, ये क्या माइंडसेट लेके आते हैं यूथ जो कि ये इतना बड़ा मूवमेंट क्रिएट कर रहे हैं.
Naveen ji, it's a very interesting question because you see, this Gen Z is this new generation. It's a topic very close to my heart. Reason, last 20 years after I left armed forces on voluntary retirement, I am with the youngsters. See, through my Olive Greens Institute, where I am preparing for armed force officers, most of the day I am with youngsters. Last 20 years.
Right.
So I've seen in these 20 years, there is a lot of evolution happened in the psyche of youngsters. And the major reason or the major turning point is the mobiles.
Okay.
Smartphones especially. Before that, mobile the, lekin itni koi खास फर्क नहीं पड़ता. These smartphones coming up and invading the lives of youngsters. And you can say internet also part of it, but the smartphones have made really the psyche has been changed. Like youngsters की psyche बहुत फर्क पड़ गया अभी.
Okay.
जो हमारे जमाने में और इस जमाने में जो सोच में जमीन आसमान की फर्क है. So this generation jump from our generation or your generation to the next generation, the kind of perceptions is absolutely changed.
Okay.
The way the mind is understanding things, the way the psyche of the youngsters have changed. This is not the way we were thinking earlier, no? So there is a huge difference. So it is very interesting to understand this. So if you look at this Gen Z frenzy, I should say, the kind of movements happening around the world, to go a little back to history, I was just pondering over this. If you remember in China, 1989, there was a huge mass uprisal among youth against the Chinese party, Communist Party. You know, China is a very one-party rule.
Right.
Communist government, very strict, and with an iron hand, they used to crush the any kind of rebellion. But the youth of China, they uprised beyond all kind of beliefs, and they came in lakhs, thousands earlier than lakhs. And it was crushed with an iron hand by the Chinese government, 89 में. Most of this has been not known to the world because उस समय में media was not very strong. There was no multimedia then that time.
Right.
Connectivity was very poor. So in Tiananmen Square, that major square, अभी भी वो square में military parade हुआ था, जो they are one of the pride, वो military parade वगैरह उधर होता है. So there, as per government, we were just checking, the government reports were just 200, 300 youngsters were killed. But thousands, in fact, more than 10,000 youngsters has been massacred on that particular day. All are youngsters.
Oh my God.
Who came as an uprising. In fact, tanks have been used. Tanks were run through them.
Oh my God.
And it was a massacre. Genocide, you may call it. So the whole uprising was, dismantled. So if you look at it, that is one of the initial uprising of youth. But उस समय में इस समय में बहुत फर्क पड़ गया. Now, if you look at in the last 1-2 years only, you will find periodically this is happening all over the world, especially in our, subcontinent, happened many times. So let's connect with these uprisings, then you
Right.
will realize there is some kind of toolkit somewhere. Some playbook has been played repeatedly many times, you see. So first thing I will take your mind to Sri Lanka.
Right.
Sri Lanka also, the same playbook was played. Youth came out from the houses to the street. They masked up. They moved towards the parliament and president's house, and they burned everything. President ran away. Country collapsed. Then army naturally, stabilized the situation. The new government was elected. Very good. There's a communist government got elected.
Right.
Same thing again repeated somewhat in Bangladesh. Reasons were different. We will discuss that. But the playbook is same. Youth came out again from universities. They captured power. They massacred people. But the reasons were different. The reasons you will find many times are different. But there is a commonality. There is a common string running through the whole episodes. Okay.
Right.
So Bangladesh again, Prime Minister ran away. Her house has been burned, massacred, ransacked. People have been killed on the road. Government again stabilized again under a caretaker government, UNS government. Uski pehle army stabilized the situation there also. General Zakkar, he stabilized the situation. Now I'll take you to Nepal.
Nepal.
Almost same way of things happened there also. Again, youngsters. Same thing happened. Nepal, everybody knows what happened. There also the government was thrown away. One minister has been beaten up publicly. One of the minister's wife has been burned. Government institutions were burned out.
Right.
You know what all happened. It was massacre again. Last week, same thing again replayed in Morocco. Same thing happened. Similarly, youth came out in the streets. They made a huge parade. They became violent, but then they were controlled by military and police for the time being. But I am sure in the next episode, you will find Morocco government also is thrown away. So you find all over the world, this Gen Z movement has become prominently, repeatedly happening. Playing out of the events are almost same.
Can we add जो अभी recently Ladakh वाला event हुआ is kind of something
Ladakh
a
can
little
be
bit lower
slightly
level.
different, but yes, you may call it to some extent. Yes, India may be हुई है. So this Ladakh event also, as rightly brought out Naveenji, you will find the mass movement is run by youngsters.
youngsters. Yeah, actually that's what I want to say.
Yes. So there is a similarity here also. You would have seen a similarity in India earlier also in the anti-reservation bill protest. That also was spearheaded by youth.
1992.
Yes. You remember VP Singh के time पे हुआ
Yes,
था?
right.
वो भी you will find it was similarly played out, but luckily for the country, those time mass media was not there, multimedia was not there, internet kind of connectivity नहीं थे, तो ये organizing इतनी large scale पे नहीं हुई थी. Though youth had come out and started burning themselves, if you remember, many
Yes,
times
right.
they self molestation के,
Yeah.
they burned themselves.
Right.
So these things are happening. India में हुआ है, but all this rebellion was contained. Small scale में India में कई बार हो चुका है. You would have seen in here in Delhi also, in that university Jawaharlal
Yes. JNU incident.
JNU
हुआ था.
में भी हुई है ना?
Yeah.
तो छोटी लेवल पे हुई है. So students' unrest spilled over to the streets, mostly get violent. But if you look at the last 1 year or so, the pattern is now become different because of mass scale connectivity by internet and the mass media connectivity, multimedia connectivity. So you will find very interesting similarities between all these episodes, all these places where government has been overthrown. You will find certain similarities. Firstly, you will not find a known leader anywhere. Youngsters gathered without any leaders. Youngsters are using all the new gimmicks of multimedia. In fact, I was reading very interesting thing in Nepal also. Youngsters were getting a QR code. Same thing happened in Morocco also. So all of them got a QR code. बट नेपाल में क्या हुआ है कि वो इंटरनेट कैंसिल कर दिया था, तो दे कुड नॉट कनेक्ट दैट टाइम. फॉर सम टाइम दे कुड डू इट, बट लेटर दे रीइंस्टिगेटेड इंटरनेट देयर, तब इनको मिल गया. बट इन मोरक्को में आई वाज वेरी इंटरेस्टिंगली रीडिंग दैट दे ऑल गॉट ए क्यूआर कोड. सो क्यूआर कोड में दे बीन टोल्ड कि दीज आर ईटिंग पॉइंट्स, these are assembling points. Right. So you go to assembling point, you show the QR code, they get food, they get transport, uske liye alag QR code. So there is some kind of organizing happening. How does it happen? So you will again, we point pe aa raha hai, there is some kind of funding happening.
Yes.
So
some hidden power is
hidden
there.
power is controlling from behind, but they are using the youth to do all this kind of unrest. The public unrest, youths are doing, but then mostly they're exploited. Youths are exploited in most of these places. Now you see the reasons in all these places. You will find another very common thing. The most important reason is youth are disgusted with the economic situation. Youth is frustrated with the governments. Unemployment is a major issue, which has whipped up this kind of fury. Tamil mein, there is a very interesting song called Kolavari.
Why this Kolavari?
Why this Kolavari? Remember that song? So what is Kolavari? Kola is murder. Very is madness. So how these youth got into this madness to kill? How the youth got into this Kolavari? That's the point here we need to understand. So this youth psyche has to be studied now. Mostly it has been a pent-up frustration, finally burst with some kind of single, spark. So Nepal mein that spark happened, you know how? They have been under a lot of unrest, like there was no employment. Most of the youth were not getting any jobs. They used to go outside and work. So you will find Nepal mein around 7% of the population are working class outside the country. So the GDP of Nepal, though, when this happening, 37% of the GDP was income coming from outside. You understand? Yeah. So the point I want to say that people were dissatisfied. There is no job in Nepal. And our youngsters got infuriated because of another reason, because of huge favoritism happening in Nepal. All these youngsters of VAPs, who is who of the politics. Mm-hmm. There was kind of a, musical chair happening. पहले प्रचंडा पहले was ruling, उसके बाद में दुबे was ruling, उसके बाद में ओले was ruling. So ये तीनों के बीच में उधर म्यूजिकल चेयर चल रहे थे. Sarkari musical. Yes. So they understood they have been fooled for a long time. And all the children of this elite class, they were all staying outside, abroad. They are bashing up with money. They are putting their photographs in luxurious situations in the internet and multimedia. So all these were infuriating people. So fueling ho rahe the, lekin the last straw on the camel's back, how it got finally burst was, internet was banned in Nepal.
So why did they ban the internet?
Because it was banned because they were, all these youngsters, especially was, there was going to be some kind of assembling happening, which could be seen from the internet. Mm-hmm. So the youth were trying to assemble themselves, trying to make another political party those times. So they put a ban on internet suddenly, so that nobody speaks to each other now for some time. Okay. This happened for 144 declare kar diya tha. So it was immediately happened, but that was a very bad decision taken, because one thing is their final connectivity is with internet, and multimedia youngsters. And youngsters के लिए it is worse than making them hungry these days. There is an addiction,
obvious है.
as we know. दूसरा है कि most of the people staying outside, they are connected with internet only. So वो तो बात ही नहीं कर पा रहे थे, अपनी फैमिली से बात नहीं कर पा रहे, अपने बच्चों से बात नहीं कर पा रहे, तो that was a very bad thing happened. So same thing you will find dissatisfaction with the ruling government, mass scale corruption happening in the country. All these are basic reasons.
Yeah.
But Bangladesh mein reasons were different. Bangladesh mein the reasons were again corruption, but the mass protest was against the party which was ruling. So why finally did burst in Bangladesh? Because एक एंटी हिंदू कैंपेन भी चले इनके बीच में, वो अपना इस्लामिक पार्टी है, इस्लामिक एक बड़ा सा पार्टी विच वाज प्रोहिबिटेड अर्लियर, नवामी पार्टी, तो वो चल रहे थे, बट दैट वाज नॉट द रियल रीजन. द रियल रीजन वाज मुजीब रहमान वाज द फादर ऑफ द नेशन देयर, एंड व्हाट दिस prime minister did was so what the prime minister did was she gave a ruling that anybody who was a freedom fighter whose generations में कितनी youngsters हैं, all were given government jobs, priority in government jobs.
Okay.
तो शेख हसीना अपनी पार्टी को फेवर करने के लिए किया. ऊपर से उससे पहले से ही that mistrust was coming up. The people were dissatisfied because last election when Sheikh Hasina came, the opposition boycotted the elections.
अच्छा.
हाँ, opposition बोला हम इलेक्शन नहीं लड़ेंगे, तो बिना opposition पे ये जीत के आ गया. So there is no democracy. बोलने के लिए democracy है, लेकिन she won without any kind of opposition. So तब से प्रॉब्लम शुरू हो रहा है उधर ना. So youth came out again outside and said कि why this kind of reservation in the government job should be given to only one political party. So everybody ganged up together,
Right.
and it burst. And of course, you know what happened. They captured the power. Same thing happening. Sri Lanka also same thing happened. Sri Lanka also, it was economic issues. And the Rajapaksa government was a very, very corrupt government. Uski pure family members were ministers. His brother was another minister. तो पूरे खानदान मिनिस्टर बैठे थे, and huge corruption happened. उधर हमन तोता करके there is a port there, international port.
Mm-hmm.
They sold it to China for 99-year lease.
That was the reason.
That was one reason. चाइना को बेच ही लिया और बहुत पैसा खाया उसमें, and nobody knows where is the money gone. राजपक्षा फैमिली खा लिया उसको पूरा. 99-year lease पे दे दिए पूरा पोर्ट को. So that was a very major bold blow for the Indians. It was a big blow for us because Chinese ships could come there and spy on us.
Yeah.
It's a very dangerous thing because Sri Lanka is just like our toe. So it was a major issue happened. So these are all burning points. Finally, again, what happened there was suddenly the government decided we will go for organic farming in Sri Lanka. No pesticides. They banned pesticides. Nobody will sell pesticides. And Sri Lanka का जो economy है 45% is from farming. Tea and plantation farming, crops, ये सब चीज़ से उनकी economy flourish हो रहे थे.
Yes.
Tourism भी अच्छे थे. The moment suddenly government said कि no pesticides, today from onwards we will do 100% organic farming. And they wanted to show to the world that we are the only country in the world who are doing 100% organic farming.
Okay.
And it is done with no planning, nothing. Government faltered there. No pesticides were coming. No seeds were coming. Organic farming कहाँ से करेंगे अब लोगों के पास पैसे ही नहीं कुछ. And the economy broke. And the economy नीचे गिर गया. लोगों के पास पैसा नहीं, खाने के लिए पैसा नहीं है, पेट्रोल खरीदने के लिए पैसे नहीं है. उधर 5 किलोमीटर ऑफ ब्लडी स्कैरसिटी ऑफ इवन पेट्रोल नहीं थे, उधर डीजल नहीं थे, फ्यूल नहीं थे, कुछ भी नहीं थे.
Sorry guys, there is a change in the environment just because of some technical fault happened. So we are just continuing this podcast from my office. So, हाँ जी sir.
Hanji, we've been talking about Sri Lanka. How the people came onto the streets and captured the government. So, if we've been talking about final blow to the people's expectations, that's what happened is government suddenly decided to go for organic farming.
ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग
Yes.
ये तो अच्छा डिसीजन है ना
डिसीजन तो बहुत बढ़िया था, but it happened without any planning. Suddenly, one fine morning, they decided we will not use pesticides at all. So what happened? No pesticides available. Government depots band ho gaya. The government supply of pesticides closed down. No licensing for even importing pesticides. So it was strict control over pesticides, and definitely people have to resort to organic farming only. अभी ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग के लिए उसके वेरविदरल्स चाहिए,
राइट
सो इकोनॉमी की अराउंड 45% जो फार्मिंग से इनको मिलते थे, suddenly there was a drop of economy, there was a drop of income, farmers suffered, there was no money with farmers, and productivity suffered, economy crashed. So this was the final breaking point of the people there, and there was acute shortage of food, acute shortage of imports, acute shortage of even fuel. People were, if you've seen those times, photographs and videos, people standing 5 kilometer queue for getting petrol or diesel.
Oh my God.
And there was no food. There was a time where 12 अंडे के लिए Sri Lankan rupees equivalent to 500 rupees in Indian money दे रहे थे.
Oh my God.
So people got totally frustrated. So you know what happens? This happens like French Revolution. You know, people got nothing to lose. They come to the ground and fight. So this exactly happened. ये सब सदियों से हो रहा है. अभी वही French Revolution की मैं बात की.
Right.
The same thing happened there also. So people, see what happens is when there is a huge gap between haves and have-nots. If the gap starts widening with rich people and poor people, and बीच में जो मिडिल क्लास ही खत्म हो जाता है,
हाँ सही बात है.
तब रेबेलियन होता है. You see, so middle class is actually the buffer between these two classes. So middle class suffer होना शुरू कर देते हैं. Middle class starts becoming poorer and poorer. Naturally, you will find a rebellion happening always. So this is the history of mankind. So people came to the road and fought and burned everything and bloody pushed. Rajpaksa ka jo presidential house has been ransacked, have been thrown away. People were jumping into his swimming pool and bloody dancing there. All these images were coming.
Genz है.
Genz.
So yeah,
this is.
Can we say that कि ये इन जब ये सब चीजें होती हैं, so every country is more or less like they have a youth and that is at the maximum level. So वही लोग जो frustrate होते हैं and they just take the things in their own hand and जो फिर चलते हैं और फिर ये कि social media से ये लोग connected भी हैं.
Yes.
So can we see that the social media plays a bigger role over here?
Social media is the leader now. Social media is the main connective factor between the youngsters. Now you will find all these places where rebellion happened or overthrowing the government happened. The chunk of the population is youth. So the average age of the population of those countries where this kind of revolt happened,
Right.
you will find that the average age is around 25-30 years.
Yeah.
So this is the youth power. So my point is we just can't ignore the youth power. Every government or every political party who is governing the country, especially these are all lessons for India also.
Yes, sir.
Because we have a huge youth power.
Yeah.
World's largest youth populations in India.
Yes, no doubt.
So unless we don't take lessons, we means everybody,
Yeah.
all of us, this generation, including the people running the government, everybody should take lessons from these kind of revolts happening all around us. And we need to maybe fine-tune our governance. Because all these places, the common factor was corruption.
Can we say that the biggest one of the reason is social media also, because when youth is not getting whatever they are expecting from the government, the local people, the offices, family, and surround friends and family, etc. and the social media is the place where they feel like they can do whatever they want.
And they pent their
Frustration
in social
also.
media using.
And when you just take away that last source,
Yes,
and then they get rebellion.
that is how the revolt happened.
And
know?
same thing happened with
Yes.
Nepal also.
Yes, this is the last spark. So, we always say, one proverb, the idle mind is devil's workshop.
Yes, right.
So, this is another reason. Unemployed youth, educated unemployed youth,
Right.
they got aspirations because if the world is connected through multimedia these days. So, they are connecting with other countries and comparing youth from other countries to us.
Mhm.
So, aspirations are very high now. Most of them live in a virtual world. Reality check to kamjor hai thoda sa. And their tolerance limit is very very less now.
Yes, right.
Very short fuse mein rehte hain.
Mhm.
They can be very easily ignited. Violence can be erupted very soon. So that is why many times this youth energy is being exploited by vested interested people. Can be foreign power also, can be diversity power inside the country
Right.
also. So we have to be very careful in the coming days, especially a country like India, where we have a huge youth population who are unemployed also to some
Yep.
certain extent, and the kind of influx of multimedia among the youth. We are a country which uses the maximum number of youngsters who use multimedia.
Right. So as we are moving towards the end of this podcast, so what is your understanding? What is your message or observation towards the people who are watching this podcast, as well as our government people and our parents, friends, family, so whole society,
Therefore, as a veteran, I am a very small fry. I can only give personal opinions. You see, we are the senior generation now. Whatever the youngsters doing today, we are actually responsible because we brought them up.
right?
Who did the conditioning of youngsters? We did it.
We did.
So you cannot absolve our responsibility and say, youth revolt kar raha hai, youth has become short-tempered, youth has gone impatient. This is like blaming the next generation, not realizing ourselves that we have groomed them.
Mhm.
So कुछ तो हमारे भी responsibility है. बच्चे अगर शरारत कर रहा है तो हम ही उनको उसके लिए
बिल्कुल.
leverage दिया है. So firstly, let us take responsibility ourselves, our own generation. We need to understand that over-reliance on multimedia, over-reliance on smartphones and internet, बचपन से ही बच्चों को थोड़ा सा कंट्रोल करना जरूरी है, which we parents are not doing.
Yeah.
It's a very important thing. And you will find another very interesting thing which I keep telling in every forum. We have stopped reading anything. Naturally, बच्चे भी वही देखता ना.
That is the point.
Have you noticed this?
Yes,
Even
yes.
we have got into the habit of this multimedia and smartphone. We stopped writing anything.
Exactly.
शुरू में कम से कम चिट्ठी लिखते थे, वो भी खत्म हो गया ना. पढ़ता भी कुछ नहीं हम लोग. न्यूज़पेपर नहीं पढ़ते. That is the reason print media is finishing. Print media is shrinking. कोई नहीं पढ़ता कुछ. हम ही नहीं पढ़ते. फिर बच्चे कहाँ से पढ़ेगा?
Exactly.
So what happened is we are mostly into virtual world. The new generation is 100% virtual world. And virtual world is, you will find many times they're not showing realities. They're showing a fraud world. तो ground reality के साथ में बच्चों का disconnect हो रहा है. That's the reason you will find children are educated now, but then without essence. Lakhs of engineers are coming out, but employability
Yeah.
वो बहुत कमजोर है. फिक्की का एक सर्वे में पढ़ रहे थे, उसमें they said the engineers employability today, their deserving employability is only 27%.
Yeah.
Which means
No doubt.
rest of them are just graduates.
Yes.
They cannot be employed. So naturally frustration होगा ना. So as committed citizens, you and me and the whole world which is listening, we have to raise the level of education and we have to connect with skill development which gives employability to the people, to the youngsters. We're not doing it. That is the reason you will find the trend which is now outwardly moving. Why everybody wants to go outside and work? Why everybody wants to study outside and go? This is a great brain drain happening to this country. IIT बच्चे इधर रहना नहीं चाहता है. He has learned here, he has utilized our facilities, he's made his brain here, and he wants to give the facility or give the benefit to some other country.
Right.
So it's a huge loss happening to this country.
Exactly. What is
So
that?
to sum up, I feel we need to little bit give more importance to the foundation which need to be built on the youth, personality and character and moral values. Very important.
That is absolutely right, sir. So, Colonel Ashokan, आपसे बात करके बहुत अच्छा लगा. This podcast goes really well. We did talk about the basic things, the things that are happening around us.
Yes.
जियोपॉलिटिकल में पॉलिटिक्स में क्या क्या चेंजेस आ रहे हैं हमारे आसपास पे, हमारी लाइफ पे, हमारी कंट्री पे क्या इफेक्ट पड़ने वाला है. सो आने वाले पॉडकास्ट में हम और बहुत सारे टॉपिक कवर करेंगे.
Definitely. I look forward to meeting you again, Naveen ji.
Yes, sure,
And been with this your team also, wonderful team. These are the youngsters, tomorrow's future.
Yes,
I am very happy to be with all of you, and we will meet soon.
Yes, sir.
God
Thank
bless.
You. Thank you, sir.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.